Where did you grow up?
That's a complicated question.
Take your time.
I was born in Boston, and then my dad is an engineer, so we moved around a lot. So I was only there until I was 4.
Well, I lived in the West. I was from Denver. And although my grandmother lived in upstate New York, so New York was part of my world in a way. The first time they ever brought me to New York, I was 3 years old when I made my first trip here. To the Bronx Zoo, obviously, I remembered. And my dad took me to a baseball game, I'm sure.
Then we went to England, and I grew up primarily in England. I would say England is more like where I consider home. And then we moved to Libya in North Africa. The Arab Spring happened, so we were not there very long. I was there for 8 months, and then we got evacuated.
I grew up in a predominantly Latino and Black neighborhood, and coming to an area that wasn't. But it was at the same time, because if you go maybe 20 blocks from here, from 120th, 116th Street, you're back in a Black and Latino neighborhood. So, it was very different. At the same time, it wasn't. Like the neighborhood, I guess, was familiar, but behind the walls, like these ivy walls.
And then I was in Doha, Qatar for my high school, and middle school, and that's where I graduated. Came back to Barnard, so I was away from America for 13 years, despite being an American, so it was a very strange experience to return, but my return being Barnard was amazing, and it just allowed me to feel so much more connected to America. It was an amazing international experience, but I'm happy that now New York is a home base and somewhere that I feel very safe and comfortable in.
Now, a lot of people were very scared to let their daughters come to New York, even from Brooklyn.
Though it's sort of ironic, my mother came here. And so for years I resisted coming here because my mother told me I should come here. But I decided to keep an open mind. And I really loved the idea of, New York City didn't hurt things. A place that focused on women. And this was sort of the 68 to 72 and women's issues. And at least in high school, being a girl interested in intellectual stuff wasn't cool. So the idea that I could go to a place where that was sort of expected. But, Columbia University was there. Guys were there. And it was relatively small. And I liked the idea of being in a smaller place where I'd assume you build a sense of community. And not solely women divorced from men, but a place that would focus on women and nurture the intellectualism of women. And I may be mixing up when I got here and what I discovered, but those were a lot of the reasons. So despite my mother telling me I should go here, I applied.
When I got the acceptance letter from Barnard, I'm like, yes. This is the right thing. This is the best.
I was interested in anthropology as a major, and students knew what that was. I thought that was sort of interesting. That sense of community with other women and living in the dorms was even more than what I would have hoped for.
I was worried when I first got here. It's do I belong here? Because everybody knows that those women from Bronx High School of Science or from Stuyvesant, they really know how to study, and they're really serious. And I only went to public high schools and public schools my whole life. I was maybe they do know more than me. Maybe I won't be able to do this. And then all the women had gone to private prep schools around New England, and you have the doubt. It's maybe they are better than the public schools.
Did you find it supportive in that way?
Definitely. Completely supportive. And I think that's what makes Barnard what it is today. I share many stories of friends, like myself. I think if I had gone to another college, even another sister college, I would have not gone to law school.
In terms of somebody who was a cheerleader for me, I think of Professor Toby Holtz. She was in chemistry. And I can remember back to a time when I don't know. I must have been going through some sort of struggle, and that particular lab was so difficult. And I was there for extra hours. It was time to turn in my lab work. And I went in and I broke down, and I was just like, Professor Holtz. I was just like, I don't think I have it in me. I don't understand this. I can't do this. And she stepped back from being a professor, and the relationship that I gained from her, like, she became my friend, a mentor, and not just somebody who was going to grade my lab work. And she gave me extra time. She gave me her time. And by the end of that 30, 40 minutes, I had the confidence, and I think like the switch light turned back on, and I was able to do the lab work that literally an hour ago I felt like was going to be the end of my academic career.
Midterms came, the first midterm exams in the fall. I'm like, okay, now we'll see, and I have to write an essay on it, and you have to pass all these. Hey, I got like B pluses, A minuses. I'm yes, I'm in. I can do this. I can do this.
Dr. Rossman and Dr. Rebel were others, and I got to work for them for a while, transcribing field notes from Afghanistan, and that was just wonderfully exotic for me. And well, I could do that. I ended up going into anthropology and became a professor of anthropology. And I think the fact that that was nurtured and encouraged helped me get there.
My name is Ada Guerrero, class of 1988. And Barnard is home.
Sooji Park, class of 1990. Barnard is magical.
I'm Dr. Juliana Flynn, class of 1972. Barnard is a nurturing place, helping women find who they want to be.
I'm Nora Hassan, class of 2021, and Barnard is the place where I became who I always wanted to be.
I'm Whitney, class of 1968. And Barnard is like my favorite place on the planet.